Hey everyone, it's Fabian from CCNS, and today I just want to give you guys a few tips and tricks on reading scientific articles. So this is a paper about Amp Human, which is a baking soda lotion that is supposed to improve performance in anaerobic efforts. Now it has a ton of backers, a lot of people use it, and we get constant questions about it, so I thought that using this article would be a great way to kind of, you know, go through how I would look at these studies. So the first thing I'd kind of do when going through one of these is, checking who the publisher is, and whether this is peer reviewed. Now, in this case, this is Source Endurance, and this company was actually funded by Amp Human to do the study. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not, providing meaningful information for us, but you just want to be a little careful around what company funded studies are saying. And then in terms of peer reviewed, this isn't peer reviewed. This is more of a white paper off Amp Human's website. So, again, I want to be a little more careful because peer reviewed is a rigorous process that kind of gives us better quality studies just because they're checked and rechecked. So the next thing that I would do is read the abstract. Now this doesn't have an abstract because it's not really, a full-on scientific paper, but this background objective, testing design and methodology are really kind of the same deal. Now all you're trying to do here is, get a kind of broad base of what the study was doing, how it did it, and then kind of what the conclusions were before you dive into anything more specific. So when going through the testing methodology or experiment design, I would encourage you to get kind of critical and think outside the box in terms of what are some confounding factors that might skew the results of this study. And you really want to make sure that these authors have really controlled for those factors. Now, this is a great example of controlling for factors in that they've done a blind and crossover study. So essentially, one group will perform a task with a placebo, and then they'll, do the same task with the actual, in this case, it's the lotion, and they'll compare. And as you can see here, to create double-blind, cyclists and test administrators did not know the identity of each lotion. So even the people administrating the test didn't know what lotion was being used. So that, that kind of gives us a really nice placebo control, which is what we want, in all these studies. So just jumping into the results section now, the first thing I kind of do is look at what test was used to analyze their data. And in this case, it was a paired t-test. Significance levels were set at p less than 0.05, which is pretty standard. And then the results are presented as means plus or minus standard deviations. Just want to make sure that we know what numbers we're looking at. As some studies, do 2 standard deviations away, which is also 95% confidence intervals. Now, in this case, the p-value is very, very small, which is a nice reason to reject the null hypothesis and claim that there is a significant difference between non-amp human and amp human performances. So, the only red herring that I can really see here is that the standard deviations are quite large, and that's because the sample size is quite small, right? We only have 8 people, so our data set isn't very large. So you definitely want to watch out for that. Now, the other thing that I'm not really seeing is I'm not seeing a test for normality or normal distribution of the data. And in a t-test, that is pretty critical because you're basically just comparing means in a t-test. And, if your data is skewed in any way, a median is probably a better representation of, the center of your data, and a mean might give you false results. So just watch out for that. But in this case, the p-value is real small, and they are claiming 20% more. So, I would definitely be interested in reading more papers about this product and seeing if they come to similar conclusions. So overall, this is a pretty good study. They're controlling for confounding factors quite well with the double-blind crossover methodology, and their statistics are quite descriptive, which is nice, right? I pointed out a few red herrings, which are worth some more investigation, but regardless of a study, I would always encourage people to read more than just one paper, kind of get a well-formed opinion around a certain subject. Now, in this case, because this is a product, it's a bit more difficult to find papers about it. So, what I'd really encourage you to do to get some meaningful idea of whether this is going to help you specifically in your training is doing this kind of study at home on yourself. So I hope that that was useful for all of you, and I definitely look forward to some of you actually trying this at home. I'm curious to see it myself. I might do this myself just to get a better idea of whether this works for me. Um, so with that, thanks for watching and good luck with this week's training, and we look forward to hearing from all of you.